Hi everyone, Marianne here from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are you today, wherever you are in the world when you're watching? A huge shout out to you. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, and for those that have sent gifts into the channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. They are very, very warmly received. Whatever way you choose to support the channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. Some people actually watch the ad all the way through, although I don't even know if you can skip ads now, but everything that helps the channel helps me continue my work. So thank you very much for all of that. Now, I've just come up from listening to a podcast with Katie Fang and George Conway, both lawyers, both have been working hard like the rest of us to keep accountability alive in a world that seems to have lost its accountability, where rules and norms have been broken and severely tarnished in ways that's going to take us a long time to rebuild. But the George Conway is contemplating a run for Congress, I think in New York. So that was the subject of the podcast. But what intrigued me, or what made me listen, was they were talking about what comes after Trump, and I felt that is a very healthy place to be. More and more people are, as his term implodes, I said a shift was occurring. I feel the corner has been turned. I'm not going to say it's going to get easier. Every day he comes out with something that is dangerous and brutal in a way. Oh yeah, not in a way, brutal. Absolutely brutal. So I'm not saying it's going to get easier, but I feel that his support has been broken. Something's been broken. We see the Congress fighting back. We see MAGA pretty much in flames. There's been a split and a fracture and a rupture there. And more we look at him and we look at the people around him and we look at those podcasts and there's sort of like a grotesqueness there. And I think it's like, when something turns, when something shifts, when the political support goes, I call it waking up. You do look upon the same thing, and you don't look upon it in fear. You look upon it in horror, and I feel that whether it's seeing Laura Loomer or Megyn Kelly spewing terrible, terrible things about the fishermen that were blown up, you go, wow, what a freak show. Now, we've always thought this, and I'm just stating facts. It is a freak show, but people looked upon that freak show, didn't perhaps see it in those that voted for Trump, didn't actually see it in it so starkly. The thing about when political support evaporates, it evaporates quickly, and it evaporates in a starkness that is shocking. It's called a political fall, and I think that's what's happening now for Trump. Not just Trump, but those around Trump. Now, Katie and George were talking about some interesting things. Reform, what comes after Trump. That's a really healthy place to be. They're also talking about Trump's health, obviously. Clearly, he fell asleep on live TV in a cabinet meeting. And they feel that J.D. Vance and others may be moving really to put pressure on Trump via the 25th Amendment. I see it like this. I see that they are going to perhaps, yes, have that in their back pocket, but at a time, because I don't see Trump doing a full 4 years, at a time when it's very clear he can't stay, they may pressure him to eventually take a step back. I think he's taken a big step back, but eventually to resign when the backlash is such that he's clearly so unwell that something has to be done. So I think they're positioning themselves, but we're going to look at that. Now I want to go to the bombing of the fishing boats. you know, these boats, I read a very good tweet, you know, talking about the size of the actual boats that they're blowing up, the fact they had these outboard motor type setups, the fact that it would take them, you know, 7 days to travel in, you know, any sort of a distance between Venezuela and the US, and that they would have to carry an insane amount of fuel, which those small boats can't. And when you start putting those things together, you will understand that these are not likely to be drug runners. That at least a percentage of them are going to be fishing boats. And so when you start to look at that, you go, wow, the controversy involving Hegseth and even Trump now has the ability to really backfire in a huge way. These are war crimes. These are, you know, international law is being broken here. What sort of a world are we where survivors, even in a war, are blown up? Now, if you look at our Geneva Convention and all of that we've learned from 2 world wars, what sort of a country, even if these were drug runners and not fishermen, what sort of a country blows up survivors, just kills, guns down? That's, yeah. Anyway, we understand that Hegseth is in deep trouble. My prediction is I think he will resign before he's impeached. And whether or not the Republicans would actually impeach him, there's 2 investigations going on, one in the Senate and the House. My feeling is he's going to resign. You're not getting job numbers anymore in the US, but private, there's a tally of private jobs lost, and there's 32,000 private jobs lost in November. Something that was very, very disappointing for me as an Australian was to see Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, come out and go, oh, well, if Russia attacks Europe, we'll sell them weapons, but we won't intervene. Now, I predicted, a year ago, it would be a year ago, that, or around about that time anyway, that NATO would fall and that Europe would build a new type of security infrastructure, a new NATO without America's presence. I wonder if that's what I was seeing back then. So we're going to go through all of these issues, including another look at Trump's health and are they actually positioning themselves to eventually force him out. And MAGA, the future of MAGA's dead, and the influences, people like Megyn Kelly, Laura Loomer, what is their future? Reform after Trump, will there actually be any, or are we just talking about that? All right, let's get started. There will be other questions that come as I go along. I'm using the Rider-Waite Tarot and also the Aquarian Tarot as well. So let's just confirm or see what the cards are going to say in relation to Hegseth. My feeling is he's not going to be impeached. He's more likely there'll be someone's scalp has to literally be someone has to pay in a way politically for these kill orders and the signal gate, the Inspector General's report. It is rumoured, or it's sources say the Inspector General report says that Pete Hegseth endangered troops with signal gate. Too much here for him to stay. So I think he's not going to be fired. He's not going to be impeached. I think he's going to be pushed out and resign. All right, so let's have a look. Which is, I think, consistent with my reading back then. It just took some time. Will Pete Hegseth resign in the future from the Department of War? Will Pete Hegseth resign in the future from the Department of War? Okay, so we got the King of Swords coming out. Yeah, investigation. It could even be prosecution as well. Um, I wonder if it'll get that far. Will the Inspector General, what's the recommendation going to be there? Okay. And we haven't even touched the kill order. Yeah, there could be prosecution in the future of Pete Hegseth. I wouldn't like to be in his shoes. Okay, so will Pete Hegseth resign? Cross his fingers, say a Hail Mary and hope for the best. Okay, so we get it's manifesting, the situation. His resignation is manifesting as we speak. And yeah, he lied. He lied. And that was one of the congressional investigations will find that he lied. He lied. I mean, it's so obvious. He did give that kill order. And, Trump too. Now they're trying to say, that Trump was the commander-in-chief, etc. Look at this. Look at this. And, the Seven of Swords is also leaving the armory unguarded. It's permeating. Let's see if it's going to be anytime soon. So the foundation of the reading is the Moon card, volatility. We get the Sun, the truth. The good old Sun comes out in the past where we have the truth manifesting. Now, on that, the Democratic Party are releasing the Epstein financial files from the banks, and I want to get to that next. Okay, the truth. What do I say? The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, the truth emerges. The Queen of Cups in the immediate future, something being let out. I think it's going to take... Maybe we're waiting till those reports are released. I don't know. Now, there's a movement here. I'd like to see him going in sooner rather than later. We have the Star card there. Hope. Let's see what's in the hopes and fears. The wish fulfillment card, and then we get a deal. So yeah, he's making a deal to leave. I think this is a resignation. These are all yes cards. We have them talking right now. I don't wish them to see me in any way. But I can see that they're actually talking about his resignation and how it's going to go down right now. And he's in negotiations. If he's going to resign, he doesn't want it to come back on him that he gave that kill order when he may have been, just listening to Trump. Trump gave him the order. He was following the chain of command. Now that's not a defense. So he's trying to do some sort of deal at the moment, but yes, they're talking about resigning, and we get good change happening. Okay, I hope with the next, Trump had probably put someone in acting there, someone of his choosing. Okay, someone he thinks will be loyal to him, but I think Hegseth, that's being talked about now. Okay, so yes, Hegseth will resign. All right, now the Epstein money files, and I said, Trump is caught up in that hole. If we just follow the money, Trump is caught up in that money stuff as well. Let's see if these money files. Now, here's the difference between... I'm actually an independent voter. I have opinions, I guess, about both sides of politics. More so now than ever. I heard Hillary Clinton in a podcast say that young people were brainwashed by false facts coming over in the coverage of Gaza, and that we need to, what? What are you saying? We all saw the bombs falling. We all saw the people being burnt in hospital beds. We all saw the babies shriveled up babies in humicrids that had been left in hospitals as the Israelis came through. We've all heard, we've seen. I mean, what is this kind of crap? So, anyway, So I just want to say as equally as I will look at failures on the right side, I'll look at failures on the left as well. So I put myself as an independent, a left-leaning independent. If people want to know, that's my politics. But it is not affiliated with either side. All right, let's go. That's by the by. But what I'm saying here is, if there are Democratic Party people, affiliated people, or in those Epstein files, and there are right-wing people from the right side in those, bring it all on. Let us see the lot. And those that need to be accountable should be accountable. Okay, so let's have a look at the Epstein money files. And the question here is Trump in the Epstein money files? Is Trump in the Epstein money files? Also want to say, before I get there, there's not a lot of difference between the two sides of politics sometimes. That's why a progressive can be attractive to someone on the MAGA side who, is looking for help for the working class. I just wanted to point that out. That's something that Trump has brought. As much as he's brought the bad, there's some good coming out. There's more in common than what we think. Okay, so the Epstein files. Let me see. Trump, are you in the money for the financial Epstein files? They've been received. Banks are cooperating with the Democratic Party, which is interesting in itself. All right, I think Trump's days are numbered, but anyway, is Trump in these Epstein financial files? Is Trump in these Epstein financial files? 2 archways in the cathedral, 3 of pentacles, almost like there's he ran parallel with Epstein in some ways. Is Trump in the Epstein financial files from the banks? Same kind of, they were like friendly competitors in a way. Oh, we have heartbreak and betrayal. And we have, what terrible cards. Complete and utter downfall. Wow, I couldn't pick a worse set of signifier cards. We're looking at heartbreak and we're looking at the end of somebody or something. Look, just add the 9 of Swords into the mix. Come and have a look. Right, look at these cards. In the past, we have temperance and moderation. This is not, I just want to say right now, it's not business as usual. This is not normal, okay? What we're looking at is a complete and utter expose along truth emerging along multiple fronts, and an ailing, sick president who's getting worse, who can't keep the lid on things. This is unprecedented times, and these cards are showing it. Debt, loans and debt, finances. Okay, so that's crowning the reading. That's a potential yes. He's there, the money, there's debt there, loans, borrowings, and we get financial information being held back. So something might happen here at the last minute where the files are held back in some way. It looks like, did Epstein loan Trump money? That's what we're having? Oh, the taxes. Something here. There's some connection between Trump and Epstein finances. Now, in the here and now, we get the truth, planning, objectivity, standing strong, and the atmosphere around is the tower for Trump. My goodness gracious me. That was the question. Sorry, where did that go? That was in the past. As I said, not a normal situation. Here we go. This is a disaster for Trump. In the hopes and fears, we get the Two of Wands. That's being patient, something coming to fruition in time. And then the outcome card is the Ace of Pentacles. Is Trump in the Epstein financial files? Clarified by the Nine of Pentacles. 6, Ace, 9. And then we get circles of support. Okay, so the Democratic Party were right on the money in going after these financial files. Did they have advanced knowledge that he was in them in a monetary way? Because I see that now here. Yes, these files are bad news. Watch for Trump to try and hold them back. But by golly, look at that. Look at that. Is he in the Epstein financial files? And I get Pentacles and very clear yes cards. Okay, so let's wait and see. I do feel something they could try and block them coming out. The Democratic Party have played this whole Epstein stuff very cleverly. All right. Let's now go to, I just want to go to the US and NATO. Scott Bessent saying we wouldn't come to their aid. I mean, who does he think he is? Wow. We're talking about Europe. And, Europe, again, holds a lot of treasury bonds. What a stupid thing for a treasurer to say. But this is what's happening with his cabinet. They're all imploding from R.F. Kennedy Jr. through to Hegseth and Patel and Bondi. Anyway. All right, let's have a look. Will the US refuse to... if there was a Russian attack on NATO countries, would the US refuse? Will the US refuse to help European NATO countries if Russia attacks? Will the US refuse to help Russia? Help Russia. Will the US refuse to help NATO countries if there's a Russian aggressive move? Now, nobody from the US attended the NATO summit. They sent a deputy. Marco Rubio didn't go, Vance didn't go, Trump didn't go. Okay, King of Swords. Looks like they try and find a way out of it. And then we get the Page of Wands. So they would actually squirm because of the NATO being an actual ratified security arrangement. It looks like they would try and reduce their level of support. Now we get secrets, the High Priestess secrets. Now we know Putin basically threatened war with Europe yesterday, so he's emboldened in some way. Look at that. My God. Europe wasn't ready for this, but it needs to get ready and get ready pretty quickly. We get the friendship in the past, the bonds, reunification, that kind of familial type feeling. That's in the past. Changes in the wind. I think they'd try and water down what support they would give. Now, obviously, there's a high level of anxiety here. It's almost like they're trying to weaken Europe on purpose. And these talks with Russia are really about who's going to have that regional influence there. Page of Cups. That's some kind of surprise in the here and now. And then we get fighting between allies. I guess the Devil card, of course, would make an appearance here. Gee whiz. I asked if they would refuse, and I get the Knight of Wands, and then the Lovers card, relationships between Trump and Putin, and strength, and then circles of support. I asked would they refuse, and then we get that. Okay, here's what they'd likely do. They'd sell them weapons, yep. They'd try and make a lot of money from this. They would try and water down their commitment in some way. Try and, something like, okay, 90% of European troops must fight this. We'll send some kind of smaller contingent. They're not putting a lot of boots on the ground here. And we get abuse of power. I think this has been planned for some time. Europe is waking up to this fact. Their security is imperiled with the Tower card there, and there's the King of Pentacles. His relationship with Putin is at the bottom of this withdrawal of support. Okay, so again, what stopped the speed run, Trump's speed run to authoritarianism and no democracy in a one-party state? The people. I wonder again. This would be Congress would need to step up here. Do you want to completely cut yourself away from allies, Western allies? Because that's what's likely to happen. So they would try and water down their support. They've been examining how they need to help. And no, they're not going to fully back Europe. In this way, I think NATO is dead. How is Europe responding here? How is Europe responding to what effectively looks like the end of NATO under this Trump government? How is Europe responding? Just a few cards. How is Europe responding? And we have here... they're considering their options. They're weighing up various responses here. The past is here in the frame. Unfortunately, the past is finished with. Okay, so they're committing more, obviously, to their security arrangements. I mean, they can't just keep expecting Ukraine soldiers who are spent, after 4 years of war with Russia. May not be a rich country, and it's not. Its GDP is smaller than Italy. MAGA, this is who you're going into bat with, you idiots. There's something about soldiers. They're stepping up. They could even have some kind of, I'm not going to say full-on conscription, but they're beefing up their troop numbers along with their weaponry. They're getting serious. They face the truth. They're facing it very quickly. The moon and volatility is in the past. This is, standing their ground, but it's also not wanting to spend money. Some states aren't on board within the EU, aren't on board, potentially are going to buck this. Now we have here the Queen of Swords. Yeah, that looks like there's going to be players, maybe Orban in Hungary. There's just like this. I think even within EU there are groups of countries that will get together to protect themselves. So there's going to sort of be layered approaches. The Queen of Swords, they're facing facts right now. NATO is dead under the Trump government. NATO is dead, and they're planning for the future. They face the facts, and they're planning for the future. It's a crossroads time in the hopes and fears. And then we get King of Cups. Okay, they're breaking away from Trump's America. They're going to be funneling, I think, money. I don't know. See, they hold a lot of US bonds, and protecting their own people. So they're looking at new ways, new plans, and going it alone in some way. I feel they're going to do just enough to keep Trump happy in a way, but underneath all of that, they face the facts, and they're going to be putting more money into their own armies, their own weaponry. building up their own military in infrastructure, industrial complex as well. It's almost like they're going to sort of say, okay, we'll give you X amount for your military industrial complex, Trump. But really, on the other hand, this is what they're doing. It's facing facts. 3 cups lost, but 2 are remaining. I wouldn't write off Europe just right now. They're also looking at ways that the leverage they have with treasury bonds, investment in the US. So it's still all at the negotiation phase, but they are moving in fairly quickly underneath all of that to get ready for any scenario. All right, let's have a look at now Macron's in China, for example. So again, putting using influence with China to hold back Russia. They've just accepted the truth about Trump's US, that NATO is dead under Trump. All right, Trump's clearly, we think, yes, he's had a stroke. He's clearly got massive health issues. His mind is deteriorating, even worse than what it was. He's falling asleep on live TV. I've predicted all this. I predicted that his health, that he won't do a full term. Can you show me again? Will Trump do a full term? Trump do a full term? I'm seeing Dumbo the elephant. Oh, the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is no, he won't. We all know it. Goodness gracious. I have to laugh. Will Trump do a full term? Will Trump do a full term? Okay, so there's going to be a leak around this, around his failing strength, as if we haven't had enough. National security is here. So, when you take all the intrigue and the Machiavellian politics away, there are real concerns among some, around national security, that he's a threat to national security. It's already been let out of the bag because that's in the past. So this is something that's already happened. We have the star card, hope. And then we get illusion and delusion. The state of his mind, it's like they're already talking about post-Trump. So we get the 7 of Swords. That's in the here and now. People are going behind his back. People are lying to him to try and keep him in a state of, this is worse than even what you think. And we get, they're currently making decisions. This is a crossroads. That's in the here and now. We're talking, this is what they're deciding now. No one can get agreement. This is the 5 of Wands. There's so much disagreement amongst them. And then we get victory, and the King of Wands, which is the Congress. These are yes cards, by the way. I said, will he, what was the question? Will he do a full term? Victory for the Congress and then death. Okay. All right. So it looks like that he's going to, his health. They're looking at something to do with the Congress. And then we get the Lovers, MAGA, the MAGA heir, and then a plan for post-Trump. Why is that victory card here? Letting him think he's a winner? And then we have the Congress. A win for Congress, and then we have the death card. I still think death will take him before 4 years. That's in the outcome, along with these cards. Somebody here, this is either a fire sign or my card for the Congress. Somebody gets a victory, and then we get the death card. Does Congress need to? I don't know. They're working on numbers basically, but it's the end of something. Well, the end of Trump. We'll draw a clarifier. Yeah, we get the government, the High Court, some sort of movement towards some kind of, what is this? Let's draw I mean, the question is, I mean, he's clearly not going to make four years. My feeling is he passes away, but there's something else going on here right now. They're positioning themselves with the MAGA base, with his MAGA base. Victory and the King of Wands. What is this? Victory and the King of Wands. The Star card. Again, there's two. That's the second time it's come out. And the end. Okay, so that it's victory for those that have stood up for him, I think. That this cycle's coming to an end. I asked to clarify the Victory and the King of Wands, which is clarified by the Death card. It looks like this cycle is coming to an end. And then we get Justice, yeah. Okay, so thank you, Spirit. This is the end of his cycle is coming. Whether that's, I don't predict people dying, but his ending is happening in some way. That's been a victory for all those that have stood firm, but also congressional changes as well, I feel. Again, this is an unprecedented time. For you, the viewer, we have, if you've been trying to manage these years, we get the Star card, we get the World card, and we get Justice. So we get a karmic influence here. I don't underestimate this time at all. Now, how is he going to go? I think he probably passes away before the 4 years are up. But I also feel that before that time, he steps down in some way, that it's clear that he can't continue. So that's what I see happening. And all of these things, whether it be the Epstein financial files, the actual Epstein files, the blow up with Hegseth, Patel, Bondi, the illegalities, it's all heading in the same direction. This is a regime that is collapsing one way or another. Thanks for tuning in. I'll tackle the rest of the questions again in another reading. Bye for now.